Welcome to my channel and welcome to the coloring with Star Joy pencils. I received this gift recently and I already started to use them together with other brands where I wanted to do background or to color something simple, but today I decided to test if I can color with this set only something nice, and for my test I selected book by M.Trolle. You know that I am not a fan of this book, but it has very good paper, so I can practice and I can be sure that all the faults they are not because of the paper. I selected these pretty wild flowers, and here the first thing which I recommend to do is to draw frame to limit background. One of the problems which I have with M.Trolle books is their huge empty backgrounds. I don't like to color without background, but to do the whole background until the edges of the page, that's definitely not my thing. In this book it's simply boring, so what I did, I draw a very delicate frame, trying to limit amount of the background which I intend to color. And from the background I intend to start, because I would love to color this one closer to painting style, without black lines. And for this technique it's better to do background first. Then when you did background, you mask black lines either with white gel pen, white Posca pen, even with white paint, and you start to color over it. So let's do the background. For the background I selected probably the most classical color, light blue, and I want to do gradient using lighter blue somewhere in the middle and going to the edges of my frame. I intend to use more intense blue shades, so I have at least 3 shades of blue for my gradient. I already selected 3 colors for those bluebells, which for me they will be more violet. And I also tried to select my first green colors, and actually greens were so far my biggest problem. This new set of Star Joy Gold, it has different color palette from classic Star Joy, which I also own, and here we have a much bigger amount of pretty pastel colors, but in my opinion terrible lack of dark colors, especially in green lines. I have lack of dark colors for blue. For example, there is no darker color for this violet. Imagine that blue from mauve from Polychromos set, and darker blue, for example, for this blue veil. Both these two colors, they don't match the shade, but that's okay. But in green line all the shades, they are mid-tones and only one green, and I actually don't like the hue of this green. It's too bluish green. We have many similar, not very helpful colors like this strange blue melody, similar to Aquaman, outrage, similar to aquamarine, but no dark greens. So I'm sorry if my leaves won't be very realistic in color. I still tried to create those color palettes from lightest mid-tone and dark color, so I hope that at least it will give me some nice gradients, even if not very realistic looking color. Okay, so let's start. I simply will do my background. Maybe I will start with my lightest color. It will be morning sky, early morning sky. And then we will see how dark I would love to do my background. They are very pretty looking pencils, but about their coloring properties I can't say so far very clearly, because as I said, I use them only together with other brands, so I wanted to test them more thoroughly. and to understand better which paper is most suitable for for these pencils and how I can use them. I do love how they cover paper, so any problems at all. When you do such gradient background, the only thing I would recommend, if you want to make transition from a light to dark color, which I intend to do here closer to the edge, just don't do it near the object, because I saw pictures where people did some kind of gradient, but they started to use another color, for example from this line and here, from this line and here. No, it doesn't look very nice, so put a little bit of first color and then start to use the next one. And my next color is actually tropical blue. Even now I did this gradient too close to this line and the difference is too big. I don't like it, so maybe I will go now with dark color here near flower. I try to make more soft transition from early morning sky to tropical blue. And maybe it's time to test my third pencil which I selected. It's Blue Whale, starting from my imaginary frame. I do love that they keep pencil tip sharp for a longer time comparing to Prismacolors, of course, because they are not as creamy and they are supposedly oil based, so you don't need to sharpen them as frequently. And you see that color is very rich, very intense, so pencils are highly pigmented. just need to blend everything, so I go back to my lightest color. And I try to do more smooth gradient. Well, I don't know if I want to do something lighter in the middle, like to grab another pencil which could be lighter comparing to early morning blue, or it would be nice to do the whole gradient in such way. Maybe here in the very middle I will try to use another lighter blue. So now I will put a little bit of early morning sky here, but with a very light pressure, almost no pressure, to be able to go and to grab. What can I have here if I use now this early morning sky? So my actually only choice is this baby blue. These colors, they are not matching, so baby blue can be my one and only choice. I would use white, but we don't have white in this set, and white in oil-based pencils, it's usually not very helpful. So okay, I will try to go and grab baby blue, but first let's prepare our central part a little bit with early morning sky. And these empty areas I intend to fill later with that baby blue. Well, I think that it's enough, and this area I can color completely with early morning blue without leaving light areas. Here I use bigger pressure on my pencil because here for me it's important to cover paper without leaving white spots. I am a person who prefers to color in one layer if possible, and to save precious time. So of course I'm more adapted to wax-based pencils, and I know that my favorites are the most creamiest pencils, but sometimes you also enjoy working with something different. Let's go back to early morning sky because I don't like how they blended. I have very strange feeling like I am coloring with color pencils, which I also own. Okay, let's darken the edge of the frame with blue veil. And back to tropical blue to work on the area between two colors. Well, not bad, and I will continue to do my background with these pencils, and I will go and grab that baby blue. Yeah, some of the areas, when I look closer, I can still see white spots of the paper, and that's a problem because, well, if I apply another layer of early morning sky, then it starts to look more intense, and I wanted it to be pale blue. I don't know, I don't have white for nice burnishing. Well, maybe baby blue will help me to resolve this problem. But with dark colors, coverage of the paper is good. And I wouldn't say that there are visible pencil strokes, so background look quite acceptable. Nothing very creative, just simple gradient, but pretty because of the pleasant colors. Okay, so I will go and I will grab additional pencil and I will continue to do the rest of the background. with early morning sky part here. Of course, I will finish the rest of the background, but later. I was curious how my baby blue will work. Well, not bad, but I simply think that the hue of this blue, baby blue, doesn't match very well early morning sky color. That's why Prismacolors, they have 3 different shades of those pastel blue, and powder blue would be better here. This one is closer to sky blue light Prismacolor. But still, we work with this set, so I will try to use it for my lightest areas of the background in the central part. And also I try to use it a little bit as a blender. Well, I think that they actually can be blended, so I'm glad that I decided to use another blue and to make the central part of the background even more lighter. Honestly, it's such a boring part to do these pencil backgrounds. Well, I guess that I don't need any more of the light areas, so the rest I will color with early morning sky, tropical blue and blue veil. Baby blue was helpful. And before I return to that boring background, maybe I want to color something more interesting, like one of the bluebells or at least maybe leaf. But for this, I will use my Posca first. I hope that it will work because I forgot to shake it. I'm really curious how Star Joy Gold would behave on top of Posca. I need a minute for my postcard to dry to stick better to the paper. For the clover leaves, I intend to use color combo of that hemlock because it's the one and only available dark green, the darkest in the whole palette, but fortunately it actually matches a real color of the clover leaves. So it's a nice match. As a mid-tone I will use jade green because in my opinion this hemlock it's more on the greenish blue colder side of greens. It can be matched with olive green shades. So I selected jade, and as the lightest color I have my spearmint. Here, lightest, mid-tone and dark color. Well, and now let's try to color something. Starting with the lightest color. Do I have... Maybe I had also to use Misty Morning. It also looks quite nice. Maybe. I would prefer to use here something like ivory from Polychroma set, but as we don't have it, you can see that pencils and pigment is totally transparent. With Prismacolors, which are much more opaque, you would be able to mask at least some of these contrast lines, so it's for you to decide which kind of pencil you love. And for me that's another reason why I love more wax-based pencils. If they give me some opacity of pigment, I don't have to mask all lines with Posca like I did here. Some of them can be masked with the pigment, but unfortunately not in this case. So the next one will be jade. I would say that pencils work okay on top of Posca. No problems at all. Problem is in these black lines, but that's not problem of pencil. Problem of the original design. And fine, and let's also do this part. And finally, let's use our hemlock. I add shadows here between leaves. And yes, I love how it blends with jade. So I emphasize these areas between leaves. I shade a little bit here and here. I guess that I need to work better with my light colors because here gradient isn't very good. So that was my test leaf. Maybe for the second type of the leaves I will try to use more warm green, olive green colors. But how to do it without dark olive green? That's a problem. I can't imagine it. So what is the darkest color if I use like this lorry green or pickle? Yes, I have in this line a very pastel colors, but what I can use to shade this one, it definitely doesn't match hemlock. Definitely not a set, in my opinion, not a set for botanical colorists. But other colors are nice, so maybe now before I will try to resolve somehow this problem with the rest of the leaves. I want to do the bluebell. For the bluebell I have color combo of midsummer pink, plum and violet. And we start from the lightest color, which I want to have here near the edge of the petals. Okay, my next color supposed to be plum. Yeah, this one is plum. Somehow this one feels a little bit scratchy. Okay, let's try to blend better Midsummer Pink with this plum. Well, they look very flat, and that's why I need my darker color. I hope that this violet which I selected will help me to shade a little bit and to make interesting gradient. Again, I would prefer to have something even darker comparing to this violet, but not indigo, not midnight blue. They can't be used in such a way. Okay, so we will have pale bluebells. So I will concentrate on blending between violet and plum. This time I can press on plum pencil a little bit harder to get more intense color in the middle of the petal. Well, I think that area between plum and violet maybe require some more blending. And let's finish the third. again plum. Here, this inner part of the petals. And violet near the base here. Well, I forgot to do the tiny bud. On the clover leaf, I decided to add a touch of not quite white. When I mentioned that I want to add here ivory from Polychromos, I forgot that there is similar color in the set, and indeed it's almost invisible, but it has this very pleasant yellowish undertone, and maybe in such a way my leaf could look better. I'm not sure that it actually made, but at least it helped me to blend a little bit. So I show you how to did those bluebells and clover leaves in the background. So I intend to finish the same elements, and then, well, I will think how to do the rest of the page. Maybe with the same greens I can do shade, and we can put it here. Where is my handbook? Here. Well, for now I will leave it. Later maybe I will add some acrylic marker. I don't know. It's possible to make it better. Okay, so let's finish the background and the clover leaves.